What's happening, everyone? My name is James Lynch, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Ninja Creami Ice Cream Maker. This is a healthy alternative for people who love ice cream and don't want to have all the sugar and junk that's associated with it. So I've had this for about a month. And let me tell you, other than this Garmin Epix 2, which I've also done a review video on this channel, this is one of the best purchases I've made in the last couple of years. And we're going to talk about everything in today's video. But before we get into everything, just want to let everyone know that I got nothing to do with Ninja. I have no affiliation with the company. This is just an honest review of something that I enjoy using. And if you could hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit that notification bell, that would be awesome. I am trying to get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible on this channel, and it would be greatly appreciated. Let's first talk about the price. So the price of this is a little pricey. It's about 170 Canadian dollars off Amazon. If you're American, it'll be a little bit cheaper than that. Now, if that seems like it's a bit much, let me remind you what I said off the top. It is worth every penny. I'd also recommend getting some extra lids. You can get a 4-pack on Amazon for just over $25. Again, this is in Canadian, not American. You're going to want to have these just so you can make a bunch of ice cream ahead of time. And that's something we'll talk about a little bit later in this video. This is a company that's been around for a while, so they're pretty well established. They've got customer service. It's not some, foreign company that you're not going to know much about. And the other thing is Ninja Creami has a huge community online. If you type in Ninja Creami, you're going to find a ton of different recipes and people who have also used this. So that's another plus, is that there's a lot of resources if for some reason you're having an issue with your Ninja Creami. Let's get into the specs of the Ninja Creami. It's got a number of different options from ice cream to sorbets. Today, we're just going to focus on making some ice cream because that's really what the selling point is of this product. And I'm going to show you how easy this is to use. Even a knucklehead like myself can make some pretty good ice cream when it's all said and done. The first recipe I'm going to show you guys is a chocolate ice cream. I'm a big chocolate lover. This is the healthiest chocolate ice cream I think you can possibly make. So we're going to go into everything step by step here. First, let's use some milk. I'm using Fairlife milk right now, which has about 6 grams of sugar and 14 grams of protein. This is a milk that has a lot more protein than the average milk, but you can use a grass-fed milk or any milk. Doesn't really matter here. The second ingredient we're going to use is some grass-fed whey protein from Costco. This is pretty good overall. It does have natural flavors, which is something you always want to avoid when you're having any sort of supplement. It still only has 2 grams of sugar and 24 grams of protein. You're going to get over 30 grams of protein in this ice cream, which is great. I also like using some cacao. You can get this off Amazon as well. This is just like a chocolate powder that has no sugar. It's from the actual cacao plant, and it just gives it more of a chocolate flavor. I personally enjoy it. I know some people don't, but this again adds more to the chocolate side of things. And then another thing you can use here to just give it some more sugar taste is some raw honey. Honey is high in sugar, but it's natural sugar, not processed sugar, so it's a little bit better. And of course, you can go a little bit better on the raw honey as well. This isn't glyphosate free, and it's not in a glass jar. I know you shouldn't be using plastic, but again, we're just keeping things simple here today. So any raw honey, I think, works for this recipe. Get one of those cheap frothers you can get off Amazon. This is to mix up your drink. You can also use a spoon, but I find a frother really does a good job. This one's USB powered. I use this all the time for coffees and now for my Ninja Creami. Let's get to our second recipe, and this is way easier than the first one, and this is just an Oreo ice cream make. Now, you could get the Ghost Oreo whey protein powder, but I've seen a lot of reviews online, and people don't seem to like it, and it costs a lot, so I went a little bit cheaper. I went with the BioSteel cookies and cream, which is going to give you a similar flavor. And again, this whey protein isn't as healthy as the other whey protein I showed you there, because it's not grass-fed. However, we're just keeping things simple here today, so same sort of thing. You're going to add the Fairlife in your mix. You're also going to add a scoop of the BioSteel whey protein, and that's it. No extra sugar, no cacao, nothing else. We just put it in here, and we're good to go. Now I'm going to take these plastic lids to my freezer, which is in my basement. Sorry for the lighting. It's not very good in here, but I'm going to leave that for about 24 hours, and then I'm going to come back to this the next day. And let's be honest, this is one of the downsides to the Ninja Creami, is that you can't just make ice cream the day of. You have to wait 24 hours. So if you're someone that needs to make something the day of, I wouldn't recommend this. But if you're a patient person like myself, trust me, it is well worth it. Okay, so it's been about 24 hours. We're now going to go back to the kitchen, and I take one of my frozen ice creams, the Oreo one in this case, and I'm going to put this in the jar. I then put the lid on top of this, which is where the blade is inside, and then it's super easy. I just clip it into my Ninja Creami. I press the button down, and you're going to hear a click when it goes up, and that means it is secure in the machine. And then we're going to be using the light ice cream setting, and this is going to take a couple minutes, maybe 5 minutes around there. It does take a little while. Now, the first thing you'll notice is this thing is loud. You're going to need some earplugs for this. It is very, very, very loud. I would not recommend this if you have any infants or if you have any pets that are sensitive to sound. Keep this in mind because it does get very loud. This is not something you want to be using in the morning if people are sleeping. The Ninja Creami should be used at night, in my opinion. So after we wait a few minutes, it will come out looking a little bit frothy. What I like to do is go back in and add a bit more milk. Now, this is also a part where if you guys want to add a few sweets to this, you could add some crumpled up Oreo cookies, or you could add some toppings into your ice cream. This would be the time to do it. I like to poke a little hole in here and then add that in. But in the case of the milk, I'm just dipping it in the middle, and then this will make it look more like ice cream. So we're going to use a different setting for this one, and that's going to be the mix setting. And it's going to take less time, maybe about 2 to 3 minutes. And this will give us that more ice cream looking taste. And then that's it. Again, not a long process here. This is where I got my ice cream looking like ice cream, and you can see me here eating it. It tastes delicious. I don't think there's much of a difference between this ice cream and the ice cream you buy in the stores or at an ice cream place like Baskin Robbins or Dairy Queen. I really do think this tastes great. And you're going to notice a couple things after you eat this ice cream. The first thing you're going to notice is you're not going to feel like crap. I think oftentimes when we eat sweets, you feel good in the moment, but then after the fact, you kind of feel bloated or a bit gross. That's the biggest thing that I really found with eating this ice cream, is that you don't feel bad after eating it. And I don't mean bad like mentally, I mean physically you don't feel bad after eating it. So that's one thing that's going to absolutely blow you away when you're eating this. And to me, that's the biggest selling point of this whole thing. You're basically having a protein shake, but eating it as ice cream, if you really think about it, right? If you put milk in a shaker with some protein powder, it's going to be pretty much the same thing, but this just happens to make some pretty delicious ice cream as well. Again, it's low calorie, low sugar, and it's going to give you really good ingredients that you want, and it's going to fill you up with all that protein I just mentioned that you put in there. That's really going to help out with you being full, and you're not going to feel like you need to eat more or anything like that. And I'll tell you guys, last night I went to Dairy Queen with my son. He had a hockey game. There was not a part of me that wanted to have any Dairy Queen ice cream because I had a couple Ninja Creamies in the freezer that I was going to make, and honestly, it doesn't taste much different. That's honestly what really makes me happy about using this, is that I can still have ice cream, but it's not going to compromise my health. Now, one other thing I'll mention, obviously don't be having this every single day, but if you're someone that does take protein shakes, again, it's just in ice cream form now. So you're not really having anything you're not supposed to have. I have this a couple times a week, but it is really good, especially at night. Let's say you had a lighter dinner and you want to get some protein in. I think this is a great alternative. And obviously got to mention in this video, I'm not a health expert by any means, but I find for me personally, I feel great after eating this ice cream, but I do still recognize it as a treat. So let's go over some quick pros and cons about the Ninja Creami. Let's go with the pros first. Like I mentioned, very easy to use. The ingredients for the most part are pretty low cost. Like even if you don't want to buy a big tub of whey protein powder, you can buy like whey protein sample packs, which are, $20-$30. Again, really low cost ingredients. There's also some recipes you can use that you can see online where you can get that Jello sugar-free pudding. That can add a bit more flavor as well. I just wanted to keep this as healthy as possible for this review, so I didn't use that. And also it's a pretty decent size, the overall size. Like you can see there, it fits on my counter next to my coffee machine. Very happy with the size. And this is something you could use in like an apartment or anywhere. It's not going to take up much space. And then the last big pro, in my opinion, is the fact that it's got such a big community. Again, if you type in Ninja Creami on YouTube right now, you're going to see so many different recipes. That was another reason why I wanted to be a part of this, is because there's just so many different options you can use with your Ninja Creami. And again, it's promoting healthy eating and alternatives for those people who have a sweet tooth. Now let's talk about the cons. There aren't that many, honestly. $200 may be expensive to some. If you're on a budget, you can find cheaper ice cream makers. But again, the issue there is two things. Number one, you're maybe not going to get a company that's well established like Ninja. And second, you're not going to have as big of a community as you had with the Ninja community. So if you're looking for, issues that you might be having with it, it's easier with Ninja Creami because there's so many people who own them already. The other thing is obviously this is really loud. I'll show you again how loud it is here. That part does suck. I don't like personally having a lot of loud noise around me, but this thing, I usually just let it go and then walk out of the room for about a minute and then come back. So the loud noise is really annoying. And the last con, which isn't really a con for me because I can wait the next day, but the fact that you can't make ice cream the day of, I do have to note as a con. But honestly, what I like doing is making a bunch at once and then put it in the freezer, and then I can just have them whenever I want ready to go. So I got about 3 or 4 Ninja Creami different recipes in my freezer that I can just bring out at any point and make some ice cream the night of. I really like this product. I enjoy it. I honestly believe in this. This has been a really good way for me to get off having ice cream and desserts. Again, if I'm going out for dinner or something, I'll probably skip dessert now and just have the ice cream at home because I think it does taste very good. And again, you're getting that protein in there if you're adding the whey protein in, and it really fills you up for the rest of the night. Let me know in the comments if you own this, if you're thinking about owning it. If you do own it, let me hear some of the recipes you guys like using. Again, there's a lot of different varieties out there of how you can make ice cream. And let me know what you think of these videos. I'm trying to do more products that I enjoy using. I also want to do products of things that I don't necessarily like. So just trying to build up the review videos a little bit more on this channel. So your feedback is greatly appreciated. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, @Lynch on Sports. My name is James Lynch. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.